Tell me, men, why do women chase the cold, distant man, yet ignore the one who offers warmth? Why is it that indifference has more power than affection? Today, we will dissect this riddle and solve it through the cunning eyes of Niccolò Machiavelli. In a world of love and desire, emotions often deceive. Women, just like men, are bound not only by affection but by power, mystery, and the hidden laws of human nature. Machiavelli taught that control, not compassion, rules the human heart. And so, why do women find themselves addicted to emotionally detached men? Let us uncover this paradox not with romance, but with reason. In the affairs of men and women, one law remains eternal: what is abundant loses value, and what is scarce becomes treasure. Gold holds more allure than iron, not because it is more useful, but because it is rarer. So too with the affection of men. A man who showers a woman with constant attention becomes common, like water flowing endlessly from a fountain. Always present, always predictable, never missed. But the man who withholds, who offers only fragments of himself, makes every glance, every word, every rare display of warmth feel like a gem. Scarcity breeds value, and value breeds desire. Women are not addicted to the man himself, to the rarity of his affection. Imagine a man who offers himself freely, day and night, answering every call, bending to every request. He is like a market oversupplied, where abundance reduces the price of goods until they are worth little. Women, like all human beings, are drawn not to what is cheap, but to what feels expensive, difficult. It is not the kindness that seduces them, but the impression that this kindness costs something to obtain. The emotionally detached man understands this, even if not consciously. By giving less, he makes each gift appear greater. Consider the way rulers throughout history maintained loyalty. A prince who gave his subjects too much freedom, too many favors, quickly lost respect. But the ruler who granted privileges sparingly, as if each were a prize earned, created fierce devotion. The subject would cling to the smallest gift as though it were priceless. Women respond to love in the same way. A detached man, who offers affection as if it were a rare coin struck only once in a season, leaves her desperate for the next piece. She does not see him as stingy, she sees him as valuable. If his heart must be protected by walls because it contains treasures worth guarding. This is why women chase men who appear unavailable. It is not logic that drives them, instinct. Their desire is amplified by scarcity. The human mind is wired to overvalue what is withheld. If a man is distant, every gesture becomes magnified. A glance feels like a confession. A short message feels like poetry. A fleeting smile feels like triumph. Women, entangled in this illusion, begin to crave what is rare, as though their very worth depends on securing it. The detached man becomes an object of fixation, not because of what he gives, but precisely because of what he denies. Now, imagine the inverse. A man who is always present, who calls too often, who texts with relentless devotion, who offers his time and energy without pause. At first, a woman may find comfort in such attention, but soon comfort becomes boredom, and boredom breeds contempt. What once felt like a luxury becomes an annoyance, like a banquet that never ends. The appetite fades, not because the food is poor, but because it is endless. Excess turns sweetness into bitterness. The very same words of affection that could have been treasured, if rare, are discarded when they are too frequent. The detached man holds the advantage because he allows space for hunger. Just as a wise ruler does not feed his subjects so fully that they grow complacent, the detached man never satisfies the desire completely. He leaves it open unresolved, compelling her to return again and again in hope of fulfillment. Each absence becomes a stage on which her imagination performs. She fills the silence with longing, the mystery with meaning, and the emptiness with her own fantasies. He gives little, yet she feels much. Scarcity also disguises flaws. When a man is ever present, his weaknesses are laid bare. His clumsiness, his insecurities, doubts, all become visible under the constant light of exposure. But when a man is distant, his image is preserved in shadow. The woman sees less, and so imagines more. She idealizes him, filling the gaps in her knowledge with her own desires. His silence becomes wisdom, his absence becomes strength, his detachment becomes depth. By offering less, he gains more in perception. And so, the power of scarcity is not merely in withholding affection, but in shaping perception. Women are not rational in this game, nor are men. We are all creatures of scarcity. We chase what is limited, we cling to what is rare, and we devalue what is abundant. Detached man, whether by design or by nature, embodies this truth. He becomes the gold among stones, the diamond among glass, the prize among common offerings. And women, caught in this ancient illusion, cannot help but feel addicted to his absence as much as his presence. In every human heart lies a hunger for the unknown, and in no place is this hunger more powerful than in the realm of desire. Women, like men, are not always captivated by what they can touch, hold, and fully understand. They are captivated by what escapes them, by the shadows that cannot be seized. A man who is emotionally detached holds power not because of what he shows, because of what he conceals. His silence, his restraint, his distance. These things weave an aura of mystery, and mystery is the greatest fuel for desire. Consider how people are drawn to locked doors more than open gates. The open gate reveals everything at once, leaving nothing to imagine. But the locked door, the curtain half drawn, the story unfinished. These captivate the mind far more than the truths we already know. So it is with women who pursue detached men. They do not desire him simply for who he is. They desire the unknown world that seems to exist behind his guarded face. Every unanswered question, every unexplained silence, becomes a puzzle to be solved. And nothing excites the human spirit more than a puzzle that resists solution. The emotionally detached man offers little, and in that little he suggests much. His silence is not empty. It is fertile soil where the imagination of a woman takes root. She begins to wonder, what is he thinking? What secrets does he carry? What storms or passions lie hidden beneath his calm? The more he withholds, the more she invents. She may create an entire story around him, giving him depth and greatness he never claimed for himself. His mystery becomes her creation, and her creation becomes her addiction. Think of the way rulers and princes have used mystery to command respect. A ruler who is too familiar, too open, is quickly despised. His weaknesses are seen, his humanity is exposed, and his authority dissolves. But a ruler who maintains distance, who reveals himself only in fragments, who leaves his subjects guessing, he becomes more than a man. He becomes a symbol, larger than life, cloaked in awe. Women view men in much the same way. The detached man does not invite them into every corner of his soul, and so he remains larger than life, untouchable, almost mythic. Mystery also inflames desire because it creates uncertainty. The heart does not beat faster for what is assured, it beats faster for what is unsure. When a woman cannot predict a man's next move, when his emotions are hidden, when his intentions are unclear, she is kept in a state of anticipation. Will he call, or will he remain silent? Will he reveal himself, or will he withdraw? Each possibility keeps her mind restless, her attention fixed, her emotions heightened. Certainty brings rest, but mystery brings obsession. Furthermore, the allure of mystery gives even ordinary men the appearance of greatness. A man may be unremarkable in truth, yet if he is detached, if he keeps his heart guarded, women will assign him qualities he does not possess. They will imagine he is wise because he is quiet, strong because he is distant, powerful because he is unyielding. The less he gives, the more they supply from their own imagination. His mystery magnifies him, turning his silence into strength, his absence into depth, his detachment into mastery. The danger for the overly affectionate man is that he reveals himself too quickly, and once revealed, he loses the enchantment of mystery. Every thought spoken, every emotion confessed, every action predictable. Such a man leaves no room for imagination. He is like a book read cover to cover in a single sitting. Once finished, it no longer excites, for the mystery is gone. The detached man, however, reveals only a few pages at a time, never the full volume. And so the woman keeps reading, waiting for the next chapter, addicted to the story that never truly ends. The allure of mystery is the reason why women often become entangled in endless pursuit. The more distant the man, the more they believe there is something hidden worth discovering. They are not simply drawn to him, they are drawn to the endless possibility that he represents. His silence allows them to dream, his distance forces them to chase, and his mystery convinces them that he must contain something extraordinary, even if it does not exist. In the theater of human relations, appearances matter more than truth. A man does not need to be strong in essence, he only needs to appear strong. This is the lesson princes have used to govern nations, and it is the same lesson that detached men unconsciously use to govern hearts. When a man withholds affection, when he remains calm while others are inflamed with emotion, he projects the image of one who is unshaken. And women, in their hunger for stability, stake this detachment for strength. The illusion is powerful because it contrasts with the fragility often seen in men who are quick to confess, quick to bend, quick to plead. These men expose their vulnerabilities too openly, and while honesty may earn sympathy, it does not inspire desire. Women may feel pity, but pity is not passion. Passion is ignited by the figure who appears unmovable, who stands like a fortress against the storm of emotion. The detached man becomes this fortress. His distance is mistaken for discipline, his lack of visible need mistaken for mastery. In truth, he may simply be unwilling or incapable of expressing feeling, but perception turns this absence into a display of strength. History itself provides many examples of this phenomenon. A ruler who remains silent in the face of crisis appears more commanding than one who explains and justifies himself at length. The silent ruler is imagined to be calculating, deliberate, confident in his power. The one who speaks too much seems insecure, scrambling to prove himself. Women apply the same judgment to men. The one who reveals little, who controls his expression, who remains still while others chase. He is seen as the stronger, the safer choice, the one who cannot be easily broken. This illusion also strikes deeper because women crave protection, not always in the physical sense, but in the sense of emotional security. They wish to believe the man they follow is not easily shaken by fear, not easily distracted by weakness, not easily conquered by passion. The detached man plays directly into this instinct. His indifference is not viewed as coldness, but as steadiness. His refusal to be overwhelmed is not seen as neglect, power. Women project onto him the qualities they desire most: control, authority, and resilience. Yet what they see is not always the truth. Detachment may arise not from strength, but from avoidance, not from control, but from fear. Still, appearances dominate over substance. As Machiavelli himself observed, people judge more by what they see than by what is true. A prince who appears merciful, loyal, and strong will be treated as such, even if he is not. A man who appears detached, firm, and unwavering will be pursued as though he were made of iron, even if he is soft within. The illusion governs the mind, and the mind governs desire. The illusion of strength also creates hierarchy. When a man shows less emotion than a woman, she feels as though he is above her, beyond her reach. This imbalance compels her to pursue. She cannot resist the one who seems to hold the upper ground, who seems to command himself more fully than she commands herself. In this imbalance lies the seed of addiction. She invests more, believing she has found one who possesses what she lacks: control. And in giving more of herself, she makes his illusion more powerful. Notice how this illusion also shields flaws. A man who speaks less reveals less. A man who reveals less leaves fewer opportunities for disappointment. His detachment allows him to escape judgment, for without exposure there is little to criticize. Women then assume his silence hides depth rather than emptiness, his indifference hides discipline rather than apathy. In this way, detachment becomes armor. It is not true strength, but it serves the same purpose as armor in battle. It prevents others from striking the vulnerable flesh beneath. The emotionally detached man is not always superior, but he appears so. Women respond to this appearance as though it were reality, for the appearance is enough to sway emotion. The illusion of strength commands more loyalty than the confession of weakness, just as the stern ruler commands more obedience than the merciful one. What matters is not what the man is, but what he is believed to be. And in the eyes of women, detachment is translated into dominance, distance into power, silence into strength. The human spirit has always been drawn to what resists it. Victory over what is easily gained carries no glory, but the pursuit of what is difficult resists capture, what demands effort and persistence. That pursuit creates obsession. Women in the realm of desire are no different. The man who is emotionally detached becomes a fortress with high walls, guarded gates, and narrow passages. He is not easily won, and for that reason alone, women invest themselves in the battle. They crave the triumph of breaching defenses, of breaking through barriers, of winning the prize that others could not. Consider the psychology of conquest. When a man yields his affection quickly, when he makes himself available without resistance, he denies the woman the thrill of the chase. There is no battlefield, no siege, no struggle. He surrenders before the war has even begun. And though this may bring temporary comfort, it never inspires devotion. Devotion is born from struggle. A victory earned with effort is cherished far more than a gift offered without resistance. Women, knowingly or not, become consumed by this law of conquest. They measure a man's worth by the difficulty of obtaining his love. The detached man offers her this measure in abundance, for he resists without words, without open refusal, simply by being absent, by holding back, by never lowering his walls completely. History teaches us that men are remembered not for the lands they were given, but for the lands they conquered. Caesar was not praised for what was handed to him, he was praised for what he took by force. In the same way, women value not the man who offers himself freely, but the one who must be pursued, defended, and finally won after much effort. His detachment transforms ordinary affection into the spoils of war, a prize worth fighting for. This dynamic explains why women often tire of men who show too much, too soon. When a man pours out his emotions at the beginning, he gives every detail of his heart without hesitation, he robs her of the challenge. She has nothing to climb, no wall to scale, no fortress to storm. The victory is hollow because it was handed to her without resistance. She may feel gratitude at first, but gratitude is not desire. Desire demands tension, uncertainty, and struggle. The detached man provides this tension, for he is never fully won. Even when she believes she has conquered him, he remains distant, as though new layers of his fortress remain untouched. The challenge of conquest also engages a woman's pride. To win a man who resists is not merely about love. It is about proving herself, affirming her own value, showing that she has achieved what others could not. Each moment of detachment from him becomes a test of her ability to break through. When he ignores her message, she interprets it as a wall. When he withholds affection, she interprets it as a locked gate. Every interaction is transformed into a contest, and each small victory, his returned call, his rare gesture of warmth, becomes a banner of triumph in her mind. The harder the battle, the greater the reward feels. This principle has been used by rulers and generals to command loyalty. A general who keeps his army engaged in constant struggle prevents it from turning restless or complacent. The soldiers fight harder when the battle is difficult, for their pride is at stake. Likewise, a woman who pursues a detached man finds herself unwilling to retreat, for retreat would mean admitting failure. She presses on even when logic tells her to abandon the fight, because her pride is now bound to the conquest. The detached man, therefore, holds power not through generosity, but through resistance. By not offering himself fully, he becomes the mountain to be climbed, the prize to be seized. And the irony is that the more he resists, the more effort she invests, and the more invested she becomes, the less willing she is to walk away. She has already paid with her time, her emotions, her imagination. She cannot bear to let that investment go to waste. The challenge of conquest binds her more tightly than love freely given ever could. Power is never maintained by constant generosity, but by the careful balance of giving and withholding. Princes who ruled wisely understood that to keep their subjects loyal, they must alternate between favor and restraint. Too much freedom breeds rebellion, and too much severity breeds despair. But when a ruler punishes and rewards at intervals, he creates a cycle that binds his people in suspense, keeping them loyal through uncertainty. The same principle governs desire. The emotionally detached man, often without realizing it, masters this cycle of reward and denial. When he withholds affection, he creates hunger. A woman begins to crave the smallest gesture, her mind restless in the emptiness his silence leaves behind. She questions herself, she questions him, she wonders what she must do to win back his attention. In this denial, tension builds, and with it, her attachment deepens. Then, he offers even the smallest kindness, a message, a compliment, a rare moment of warmth. Her hunger is temporarily satisfied. The relief is overwhelming, the joy disproportionate to the act itself. What might have been dismissed as trivial if offered regularly now feels like a grand gift. She clings to it, treasures it, and yearns for the next moment of reward. This cycle mirrors the training of loyalty seen in every sphere of power. A ruler who occasionally pardons, who occasionally grants favors, makes those rewards appear divine. A general who spares his soldiers from constant battle makes a day of rest feel like paradise. So too, the detached man who occasionally lowers his walls becomes intoxicating. His rare attention feels like sunlight after long winter. It is not the amount he gives, the contrast between denial and reward that creates such intensity. Psychologists in later centuries would call this intermittent reinforcement, but long before science gave it a name, Machiavelli understood its force. People are most obedient, most loyal, when they live in uncertainty, never knowing whether the next moment brings favor or rejection. Certainty weakens desire, but unpredictability sharpens it into obsession. A man who is always kind is taken for granted, for his affection is expected. A man who is always cold will eventually be abandoned, for despair drives people away. The man who mixes coldness with fleeting warmth keeps the heart trapped in hope. Women cannot resist this pattern, because hope is more powerful than satisfaction. Notice how this cycle works on pride as well as passion. When a woman is denied, she feels challenged. She believes she must earn the reward, that it depends on her actions, her words, her effort. When the reward finally comes, she attributes it to her own success, convincing herself she has broken through his defenses. She takes credit for the moment of affection, even though it was never fully in her control. This illusion keeps her invested, for she believes the next victory is within reach if only she tries harder. The man, by alternating between presence and absence, between coldness and warmth, keeps her locked in this endless pursuit. Think also of how small the rewards need to be. A brief smile after days of silence, a single message after weeks of distance, a rare compliment dropped like a coin into her hand. These gestures grow in value because of their rarity. They shine brighter against the backdrop of denial. She interprets them as evidence of hidden affection, as proof that beneath his detachment lies a man of depth, who occasionally reveals himself. She begins to mistake his inconsistency for complexity, his unpredictability for passion. What would be unimpressive if given daily becomes irresistible when given sparingly. The cycle of reward and denial also binds her through time. Each denial increases her hunger, each reward renews her hope, each renewal convinces her that the next reward will be greater still. The cycle stretches endlessly, never fully satisfying, yet never allowing her to escape. She cannot abandon the pursuit because she remembers the sweetness of reward, and she cannot rest because denial keeps her restless. In this way, the detached man holds her in captivity, not with force, but with rhythm, like a ruler who governs not through constant generosity, but through the strategic alternation of favor and punishment. In the politics of love, as in the politics of power, people measure worth not by the true substance of a thing, but by how difficult it is to obtain. A throne earned through inheritance is less admired than one seized by conquest, and a gift given freely is never cherished as much as a prize fought for. Women, when faced with the emotionally detached man, fall into this law. They fear that if a man is too easily won, he cannot be worth much. His value in their eyes diminishes precisely because it required no struggle to secure it. But when he resists, when he withholds, when he seems beyond reach, their perception of his value increases, and with it rises a fear of losing him. This fear becomes a powerful chain. Once a woman has invested her emotions in pursuing a detached man, she begins to calculate the cost of losing him. The very difficulty of the pursuit convinces her that he must be rare, for why else would he guard himself so carefully? She tells herself that his value lies in his distance, and therefore to let him go would be to waste all that effort, all that longing, all that emotional labor she has poured into him. Just as a ruler who builds a vast palace cannot bear to abandon it, even if it brings him ruin, so too does she cling to the man whose affection feels scarce. The harder he is to secure, the greater her fear of losing what little she has gained. Notice how perception transforms reality. The man may be no more extraordinary than any other, yet his detachment creates the illusion of superiority. If he can walk away easily, he must be a man of high value. If he refuses to reveal himself fully, he must possess qualities too great to be squandered. She cannot bear to lose him, not necessarily because of who he is, but because of who she imagines him to be. The fear of losing imagined value is stronger than the reality of possessing true value. A generous man may love her openly. His very generosity makes him appear ordinary, as though his affection could be replaced at any time. The detached man appears irreplaceable because he refuses to be owned completely. This fear also preys upon pride. To lose a man who is easy to gain is no humiliation, but to lose the man who is difficult to secure feels like defeat. Women tie their sense of worth to their ability to hold the attention of such men. Each moment of distance threatens not only their heart but their pride. They begin to believe that their failure to fully win him reflects a flaw in themselves. This belief tightens the chain, for now she is fighting not only for him, but for her own sense of value. Losing him would mean losing part of herself. Consider how rulers manipulate this same principle. A ruler who makes himself too common among his subjects loses authority, but one who remains above them, who makes his presence scarce and his favor rare, inspires fear of loss. The subjects cling to him because they believe his value exceeds their own, and they dread the thought of losing the little access they are granted. The emotionally detached man is, in his own way, a ruler of hearts. He governs through scarcity, making women believe that to lose him would be to lose something precious, even if they never fully possessed it. The fear of losing value also binds women in cycles of self-sacrifice. They may forgive behaviors they would never tolerate from a man who was easy to win. They may accept neglect, silence, or even disdain, convincing themselves that such sacrifices are necessary to hold on to him. They justify the suffering by inflating his worth, and the more they suffer, the more they fear to let go, because to release him would be to admit their suffering was in vain. In this way, the fear of losing value traps them in loyalty far deeper than genuine affection ever could. It is not the man himself, but the illusion of rarity that holds them captive. The emotionally detached man does not need to prove his greatness. His refusal to be easily possessed is enough. Women, fearing to lose what they believe must be extraordinary, hold tighter even as the reality offers little. This is the cruel genius of detachment. It convinces others to assign worth where perhaps little exists, and to fear the loss of what they never truly had. And so we arrive at the truth: women are not enslaved by love itself, but by the forces that govern desire, scarcity, mystery, the illusion of strength, the challenge of conquest, the rhythm of reward and denial, and the fear of losing value. These principles are not new. They are as old as kingdoms and as eternal as power itself. The emotionally detached man becomes irresistible not because of who he is, but because of the strategies his distance creates in the minds of others. Machiavelli would remind us that human nature is not ruled by kindness or fairness, but by perception, by power, and by the illusions we cannot resist. To understand this is to step beyond the naur of a world of romance and into the realm of strategy, where desire is shaped not by chance but by control. Remember this: in matters of love as in matters of state, it is not enough to be worthy. You must appear rare, unshaken, difficult to conquer. That is how devotion is won, and that is how it is kept.